Hey everybody, this is Rex Bear with Leak Project. I hope you're having a nice day today. It is January 14th, 2017. Hope your Friday the 13th was epic. I know mine certainly was. Now, I want to talk to you guys today about an article that I just read. It came out yesterday. It's called Head of DC National Guard to be Removed from Post in Middle of Inauguration. And when you read a title like that, at least when I do, a headline, I think to myself, why in the world would something like that even take place? And then I think to myself, oh yeah, of course, because it's Donald Trump. And everything that kind of leads up to the inauguration, I shouldn't say everything, but a lot of things in the media portray the fall of the White House. I mean, let's think about these movies that have came out recently. White House Down. Olympus Has Fallen. Red Dawn. Which, by the way, Red Dawn, it was supposed to be the Chinese at first, but they threw such a big fit about it that the writers had to change it from China to North Korea being the threat, which is silly if you ask me. I mean, their stuff is so archaic. You see the headlines a few years ago. Do you remember when little Kim Jong was hanging out with his military buddies and his generals looked like they were about ready to go into assisted living facilities. They looked like they were about 90 years old. And they're hanging out. One spot they were kind of hanging out on a beach, and they're pointing at stuff. They're pointing at the missile. Like, oh, look at that! And if you really think about it, how easy would it be with the satellite systems we have in place to just take them out by a push of a button? A drone strike, a satellite, military, space weapons, whatever. I really don't think it'd be that difficult. He's kind of like the boosted boogeyman, which is just another excuse for the Department of Defense to bring in billions and trillions of dollars, essentially. So the head of the D.C. National Guard to be removed from the post in the middle of the inauguration. Now, it's General Schwartz, who has played a very key role in planning the inauguration. He's going to be removed from command just after noon at 12:01 p.m. on Inauguration Day. Now, this article is by Peter Herman and Aaron C. Davis, and you can read it on the Washington Post. A lot of people have speculated if Trump's even going to make it in office. And when you read articles like this, in my opinion, this is just subliminal programming combined with all the TV shows and movies that have came out recently portraying the fall of the White House. Now, I certainly hope not. I mean, it would be nice to see things run smooth. I think we've had enough BS already and enough division tactics. You read articles that come out by, you read stuff by, here's another article I want to read to you guys. This is just the way that some people think. Michael Eric Dyson believes in individual reparations. Yeah. According to him, if you have a black person mow your lawn, you should pay him twice as much because they're black. And you should start your own account and put money in that account because of black slavery in the past. Because white people feel guilty, according to him. According to him, he talks to people all the time that are white, that feel privileged because they're white, and they feel bad, so they ask him what can they do to make up for slavery in the past of African Americans. Yes. Yes, that's a big concern, isn't it? I mean, don't you feel guilty about that, ladies and gentlemen? You probably have a tough time sleeping at night, huh? Well, what I would like to know, Mr. Dyson, is what about all the Chinese people or the Irish people that were basically put into slavery and squalor and the railroads and stuff? What about all the other people in other countries that are considered slaves? Or, let's go back to Egyptian times. What about the slaves back in Egyptian times? I mean, shouldn't there be individual reparations for them also? I mean, this is just ridiculous. This is the kind of stuff that makes the mainstream news, you guys. This is, I guess, important enough for the Washington Post, the New York Times, to write up a big article about it. And the guy's like this, and he's like, oh, look at me. You're white, so you're a piece of trash. Because there were African American slaves 100 years ago. The mindset of the New World Order. Division, conquer. Wag the dog, spin the tail. This is mainstream news. And then, while this stuff's going on, what kind of slips into the back pages of certain conspiracy fringe websites or white papers that have been released or documents or college essays. Here's one for you. This one's from theguardian.com. This, in my opinion, is a little bit more important than setting up an account for reparations of black slaves. Scientists use light to trigger killer instincts in mice. Scientists use light to trigger killer instincts in mice. Yeah, this is what most people won't read about because they're reading about Mr. Dyson saying you need to pay somebody twice as much money when they do work on your house or on your yard because of the color of their skin. It's just insanity. Okay, so we've talked about this before, optogenetics, how scientists can use light to control your brain, control your actions, control how you think, what you do, what you feel. Well, let's get into this real quick. I'm going to read this to you, just a little bit of it. The research revealed that one set of neurons triggers the pursuit of prey, while another prompts the animal to clench its jaws and neck muscles to bite and kill. The study relied on the technique optogenetics, in which neurons can be artificially activated using light, effectively allowing scientists to switch the killer instinct on and off at will. You guys, if they can do this to rats, why in the world would they not be able to do this to human beings? You don't think there's some kind of mind control technique stuff they're doing right now that's an offshoot of MKUltra or Project Monarch? I know people personally that have been affected by some of these MKUltra type projects. They're some of the most amazing people in the world. If they had $1 left to their name and they were hungry and they saw that you needed that $1 to get a drink because you were thirsty, they'd give it to you. And that's the kind of people many of them are. And they've been put through some of the most traumatic mind control experiments. They've been abused in every way, shape, or form that you can think of, and they're still good people. And what does that say about the heart and the soul and the spirit? Now what happens when ultra high definition TVs are so advanced, we're all plugged into these virtual reality machines, and all they have to do is just activate your mind with certain light patterns combined with sound waves to trigger you to do something like buy a product. Maybe they'll use you as a Manchurian candidate of some type. Maybe you're outspoken in some way and they want to hush you up. So they're going to find a way to manipulate your mind into doing things that you don't even know you're doing. They could smear you that way. Optogenetics. This is the kind of stuff that we need to be aware of, because this is the kind of stuff that can eventually get out into the corporate marketplace. And let's not even talk about the factions behind the government. Let's talk about some of these big corporations that have more money than countries and will do anything and everything they can to keep their stocks to continue to rise in this corporatocracy, consumer-driven world that we live in. People say money is the root of all evil. I don't think so. Money can be a good thing. Think of all the amazing things you can do with money. And also, think about who has most of the money and what are they doing with it. Should we turn the tide? Should we change the table into our favor? It's the year 2017. Some people think that we are in the age of Aquarius right now. If any time is the time to do it, now is the time to do it. Look at your watch, whether it's 1:11, 2:22, 3:33, or midnight. When is it time to change? Now is time to change. Or not. Don't change. Stay the same. Do what you're doing. Stay on your knees. Bow to your master. Set up an account so you can pay those poor people double the money. I mean, if you ask me, that's a slap in the face to somebody that is African American or black, what this Mr. Dyson guy is saying. I don't think most people think that way, that have colored skin. Do you? Who cares what color your skin is? Does it really matter? I mean, this is the kind of stuff that just pisses people off. This is the kind of stuff that makes people look bad. I mean, let me just read this to you real quick. This is from the New York Times, interview by Anna Marie, January 4th, 2017. What's your strategy for getting through to the white people who may not be particularly sympathetic? What I've seen under the wonderful presidency of Barack Obama is the tendency to not tell white people the truth for obvious reasons. Oh, okay, to not tell white people the truth for obvious reasons? And we're racist? Yeah, because we're white, we're racist. Because we're not compassionate enough to open up a new account to pay people of colored skin double. Welcome to the New World Order, ladies and gentlemen. If you were born with pale skin, then you need to pay other people double, and you need to feel sympathetic towards them because of stuff that happened 100 years ago. So let's don't forget about the Irish and the Chinese and any other country where there were slaves. The Egyptians, the Israelites, the Palestinians. There's probably slaves back in the Atlantean times too. We need to find some Atlanteans. What about the Mayans? What about the Incans? What about the Aztec? What about the Vikings? What about the Nordics? What about the Slavs? What about the Japanese? What about the Germans? Probably slaves in all cultures at some point in time. So let's just pay everybody double. Oh wait, well that takes away the whole Eric Dyson theory of, well, we're racist because we're white. And this is the stuff they force feed your children. Then you hear about professors that say all they want for Christmas is white genocide. And then they say, oh, it's just a joke, and if you thought it wasn't a joke, then you're racist. You don't think this has an effect on the psyche of your subconscious mind? Then you look at all the commercials today, pretty much. Most commercials show a sissified man and a masculine woman. Once again, I don't care what your sexual preference is, what color your skin is, but it's this whole smear everything together, make left look right, make right look left, turn left, turn right, turn right, turn left, because it's all a part of the system. Don't question anything, just do what you're told. It's okay to get 300 vaccines by the time you're 21. It's okay to get autism. I mean, just watch the film Accountant. You'll think that if you have autism, you're going to be a superhuman now. So maybe you should go get more vaccines. Maybe that will cause a neurological disorder in your brain. You'll become super smart in one aspect and then have a difficult time with everything else. Welcome to the New World Order. Oh, and while the mainstream news is having food fights, throwing food back and forth about what this politician said about this politician, and what the Democrats say about the Republicans, and what the Republicans say about the independents, and what the independents say about the Haitians, and what the Haitians say about the Norwegians, and what the Norwegians say about the unicorns, and what the unicorns say about the X-Men, and what the X-Men say about the cyborgs, and what the cyborgs say about the Daleks. While all this is going on, and people are throwing shit at each other, the planet is getting utterly destroyed. This is an article that came on the Washington Post. Humans have destroyed 7% of Earth's pristine forest landscapes since the year 2000. 7% of Earth's pristine forests and landscapes since the year 2000. So in 17 years, we've destroyed 7% of the Earth's forests. Man, I got to keep up on my smartphones. I got to keep up on my lawn care. I got to have that 85-inch super ultra high definition TV with 18 speakers around it. The 16 speakers I had last year isn't enough. I've got to get rid of those, and now I've got to get 18 new ones because they look pretty. They match my decor. This is the mindset of most people. Don't get me wrong. I love nice things. I love nice things. I don't have a lot of nice stuff, but the things I do have, I enjoy nice quality things. There's nothing wrong with that. The problem is big corporations that control the majority of the resources are not bringing out the technologies to allow for abundance of energies. Without this consumer-driven cog machine, this consumer-driven cog that's in the machine of consumerism, just feeding and feeding and feeding and feeding, taking. Pretty soon there's going to be nothing left. And another thing I read in this article, scroll down here a little bit. Okay, here we go. The rate at which these losses are happening is speeding up. The study suggests that researchers found that the rate of reductions of intact forest landscapes between 2011 and 2013 was triple the rate between 2001 and 2003. Triple the rate in 2 years. So we've depleted 7% of the forests since 2000, and it jumped up threefold from 2011 to 2013. Welcome to the New World Order. Aren't you excited to have kids? Aren't you looking forward to your grandchildren's lives here on Earth? Welcome to the New World Order. Check out our website, leakproject.com, also youtube.com/clandestine time lord. Be the change you want to see. Question everything or don't. Have a nice day. Hey everybody, this is Rex Bear with Leak Project. I hope you're having a nice day today. It is January 14th, 2017. Hope your Friday the 13th was epic. I know mine certainly was. Now, I want to talk to you guys today about an article that I just read. It came out yesterday. It's called Head of DC National Guard to be Removed from Post in Middle of Inauguration. And when you read a title like that, at least when I do, a headline, I think to myself, why in the world would something like that even take place? And then I think to myself, oh yeah, of course, because it's Donald Trump. And everything that kind of leads up to the inauguration, I shouldn't say everything, but a lot of things in the media portray the fall of the White House. I mean, let's think about these movies that have came out recently. White House Down. Olympus Has Fallen. Red Dawn. Which, by the way, Red Dawn, it was supposed to be the Chinese at first, but they threw such a big fit about it that the writers had to change it from China to North Korea being the threat, which is silly if you ask me. I mean, their stuff is so archaic. You see the headlines a few years ago. Do you remember when little Kim Jong was hanging out with his military buddies and his generals looked like they were about ready to go into assisted living facilities. They looked like they were about 90 years old, and they're hanging out. One spot they were kind of hanging out on a beach, and they're pointing at stuff. They're pointing at the missile, like, oh, look at that. And if you really think about it, how easy would it be with the satellite systems we have in place to just take them out by a push of a button? A drone strike, a satellite, military, space weapons, whatever. I really don't think it'd be that difficult. He's kind of like the boosted boogeyman, which is just another excuse for the Department of Defense to bring in billions and trillions of dollars, essentially. So the head of the D.C. National Guard to be removed from the post in the middle of the inauguration. Now, it's General Swartz, who has played a very key role in planning the inauguration. He's going to be removed from command just after noon at 12:01 p.m. on Inauguration Day.